Hey, everybody. It's Allie. And welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, May 7th, 2023. Hey, Connor, buddy. Listen, you know how everything in your family is, well, complicated? Well, we have got some news for you. Your dad got Sally Spectra pregnant while she was dating your Uncle Nick. But Nick doesn't mind. Uncle Nick doesn't mind. He's still dating her. He didn't break up with her over it. They're still together. So, Sally is having your baby sister with your dad, and the baby's also gonna kinda be your cousin because Sally is still with your Uncle Nick. I know, it's messy. And I'm not even gonna tell you what Grandpa Victor did this week. Oh, you just wanna go to your room now? Okay, cool. You go, no probs. You go do you. Process, Connor, process. Oh, poor Connor. Poor Connor. He is going to leave Genoa City as soon as he turns 18 years old, and he is never going to look back. He is going to change his name and go live on a houseboat somewhere, or maybe a yacht in international waters. He is going to never want to hear the name Newman again. Case in point, the problem with being a Newman, case in point, this week, Victor said to Sally, "Can I buy your baby?" Okay, that's a basic one-line summary, but I think it's pretty accurate. Can I just buy your baby? How about I raise your baby and you just go away? That is so yucky. It's just yucky that he thinks that he can just buy her baby, buy her off. Send her away to Abu Dhabi like she's normal. I thought that was kind of a funny connection, though. Nick and Nikki were looking for the paperwork on the Abu Dhabi deal while Victor was trying to put Sally in a box and mail her there. Adam was kind of doing his own throwing money around thing this week, too. He wanted to set up a trust fund for his fetus. And it is never too early to get that fetus into Walnut Grove Academy. Start studying now. Oh. In utero studying to get into Walnut Grove. I like that idea. Yeah, Adam is still a Newman. He's Newman Light, the friendlier version, but he is still a Newman. And in the previews for next week, he's also trying to give Sally a job. So let's face it, Adam knows how to throw around his Newman power and money too. But Adam knew that Victor had called a meeting with Sally this week, and Adam knew that it was bound to end in disaster. He also knew that Sally was not going to accept his comfort after it all blew up. So Adam gave Nick the heads up that Sally was going to be needing his help in picking up the pieces. And then she handled it pretty well, to my surprise. But Nick did not. When Sally told Nick what Victor had done, he wanted to rush out and smash something. Nick smash. He went right into Nick smash mode. But Sally stopped him. And thank goodness, because all I could think was, Nick, please do not hunt Victor down and go make a scene at the jazz club on Neil Winter's night. Harmony Hamilton at Tucker's behest. The cliffhanger with absolutely no explanation. Newer viewers everywhere had to have been scratching their heads, not knowing who this mystery woman is. And in fact, viewers in general, doesn't really matter how long you've been watching the show, you had to have been scratching your head because it's a recast. I mean, I'm just guessing that it's Harmony, but it's Harmony. And if you didn't just know that it was Harmony out of Y&R instinct for having watched for 30 to 50 years, then you wouldn't know that it was Harmony. So it's just sort of like, okay, that's a weird cliffhanger. But all right. So Devon's mom is coming to the party in honor of Devon's adopted dad. And Lily's adopted dad is going to be coming to the party too. Shamar Moore. Woo! Panties. I've got a stack of panties ready to go to throw at my screen for Malcolm. Don't doubt it. This is going to be good. And just when I was thinking how Nate seems to be becoming more like Malcolm, and by that I mean dimensional, like with depth. Nate's kind of becoming the opposite side of the coin of Devon. Nate and Devon, Malcolm and Neil, full circle 2023 for the Winters family. But anyway, so Neil is not biological father to either Devon or Lily, and Neil's only biological child, Moses, cannot attend the party because he got eaten by a lion or something. No, wait, I got that wrong. He was studying for finals. But being eaten by a lion would have been more dramatic. And would have been more appropriate for Malcolm Week, since Malcolm and Neil once saved Devon from being eaten by a lion. You know, Devon has got some pretty big britches for a kid who once wandered into the lion's den at the zoo. That happened. Soaps used to be. We had a lion. We're lucky if we can get a change of scenery these days. We had a lion at one time. And Devon was saved. Devon was such a little snot this week toward his bio dad, turning down Tucker's idea for the Neil Winters International Jazz Festival, which I thought was a great idea, but Devon was like, no, you're not my dad who I like better, who's in heaven now playing jazz for the angels. I prefer my other dad. Live Dad's never going to be able to compete with Dead Dad, though. And just a friendly reminder that Neil was no angel. He did kidnap Hillary and hold her hostage in a boathouse, so just a reminder. I think that Devon is just jealous of Tucker's awesome hair. That bedhead. Oh, that bedhead. Ashley goes to work and leaves Tucker rolling around the mansion in his silk robe and that hair. And that stupid smirk on his face. If Ashley's mission was purely to annoy Jack, then mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. And now Tucker and Ashley and Jack and Diane are going to be living under the same roof. And who knows? I don't know. Maybe we could throw Harmony under that roof too, so that all of Tucker's affairs can be there. He had affairs with Harmony and with Diane. It's hard to believe Ashley was okay with Tucker's plan to bring Harmony in on the mix, but I don't know. Ashley's playing a losing game these days. If she can't seem to control the situation at home, then she's darn sure going to try to control the situation at the company. Ashley told Billy this week that they need to call a meeting of the board and vote Jack out as CEO before the bad press takes the company down, or before Diane gets out of prison and then declares herself queen of all things Abbott. I thought that statement was very telling. She said, Diane thinks she's the queen of all things Abbott. Well, Ashley thinks that too. That's the real problem. Ashley needs to be the queen of all things Abbott, and she is not going to let Diane threaten that. But it's too late in a lot of ways. Diane is already back. A change of scenery and a change of clothes for Diane. Oh, how glorious. I know jumpsuits are in, Jack, but that was ridiculous. She's going to be crying in Jack's arms tonight about the jumpsuit. That is the truest, cruelest part of soap opera jail, the wardrobe. I loved the moment when Michael handed Diane's garment bag to the guard. Like, here, change this woman's clothes. That felt like the real victory. Oh, Michael Baldwin is one stellar attorney. Out on bail with murder charges. That is some magic. Michael is also currently trying to work some magic to pull the Big Brother security footage from around town to get Jeremy Stark maybe doing something bad. We're going to be pulling the phone records too. Hopefully we're going to be able to provide some reasonable doubt for Diane. I actually think it would be more fun if, now that Diane is on house arrest, I think it would be fun if she saw Phyllis by accident. Like maybe Phyllis comes to the door looking for Summer and Diane catches the ever slightest glimpse of Phyllis through the glass. I just think that would be really an interesting twist. Diane finally being the first one to put together what has happened to her. And maybe she starts telling Jack and Michael that Phyllis is alive, and maybe they start to think that she's cracking under the pressure, and all the while Summer's over in the corner giving bug eyes. Oh, it has been a tough week for Summer, to say the least. Keeping the secret from Kyle that she knows his mom is wrongly imprisoned. And she really had to eat her words about it all this week. I mean, she had been adamant to Kyle about Diane's guilt. And now knowing that she was wrong, and now she's lying and lying and lying, suddenly Summer is real open to reconnecting with Kyle. Did you notice that? Now that she's keeping a secret, she's suddenly open to that snuggle sesh. I like that. I think it's a good twist on the question that we've been asking for weeks and weeks. Because for weeks, we've been asking, well, will Summer be able to forgive him for thinking that his mom killed hers. But now we're asking the question, will he be able to forgive her for lying about it? Daniel came around to believing Summer's crazy mom is still alive theory, and it was once he realized that Summer had details about Jeremy's death that nobody else had. Well, she got those details from the only other person who was there when Jeremy died, his killer, their mom. And Daniel, unlike Summer, was absolutely willing to go to the cops about it and tell the truth about it. And well, that's because Phyllis didn't get a chance to manipulate Daniel in person. Next week, it looks like Daniel is going to be really putting the screws to Summer about the fact that she's lying to Kyle and that she's letting Diane rot. But I'm willing to go to bat for Summer a little bit here, because we have to remember that Summer got the shock of her life, followed by the guilt trip of her life, which is the only reason that she's throwing morality out the window and letting Diane fry. Phyllis got Summer into a very vulnerable spot and then manipulated her by saying that she was Jeremy Stark's victim. He made her do it all. He preyed upon her, and then, in the end, he put his hands on her. And that's not fair. That's not fair. And yes, Summer's doing the wrong thing, but she's doing it because Phyllis cornered her into it. Mariah's a little shaky on the topic of Phyllis, because she and Tessa got back from Portland and Phyllis was dead. So Sharon, maybe you could use a little bit of some different phrasing next time when you're talking about, oh, Moses and Faith. I thought it was nice that Mariah was able to step out for a glass of wine while Tessa's at home changing diapers. Mariah's getting to get out a lot this week. She wheeled the little bread loaf in its carriage into the coffee house this week for Sharon to goo goo gaga over. Oh, you're a cute little loaf of bread, aren't you? Aren't you? Yes, you are. But I actually really appreciated the heart-to-heart that Sharon and Mariah had, comparing complicated motherhood stories. It wasn't all that long ago that Mariah didn't even call Sharon mom. I don't know if you guys remember that, but for years, it seems, she just called her Sharon. It wasn't even up until the last couple that she started calling her mom. Well, Mariah was talking about how a stranger came up and was complimenting the baby and asked her if this was her first child. And it really threw her for a loop, because technically the answer is no. Mariah has had a child before, but it wasn't her child. So in a way, this is her first child. It's complicated. The answer is both yes and no. I can relate to that, being asked a question that you need to take a moment to process and figure out what's the most appropriate way to answer. Having to curate your answer a little bit. I think we've all been in situations like that. How much do I say right now? I kind of liked that. I just liked that moment. I thought it was interesting, and I liked that Sharon mentioned that she could relate to that too, because when people ask her how many kids she has to take a beat, because the answer's 3, but only 2 of her children are still living. But that doesn't make Cassie any less of her child. So again, the answer's kind of both. I thought it was just a good scene. It was well written. It had some nice pacing to it. I don't know who's going to give us these kind of thoughtful scenes with thoughtful dialogue during the writer's strike now. Oh my goodness. I don't know very much about it. I just only know that the writers are striking right now. I read one article that said that soap operas are probably not going to be as affected as other shows since they have a lot of material that's pre-done, pre-written, pre-recorded. So I'm not sure exactly how this will affect the broadcast, but my heart goes out to everybody who's fighting real hard right now to get what they need. Well, I thought maybe a fun and interesting little poll question for this week might be just to ask you guys if you've ever thought about being a writer on Y&R. Not like we want to go in and take people's jobs or something, but have you ever thought that it might be kind of interesting to write scripts for Y&R to be able to control the stories? Or are you someone who just would rather sit back and watch the entertainment? Why don't you go to yrchat.com this week and cast your vote? Let me know. Do you think that you would ever, in a dream world, I guess, want to be a writer for Y&R? Or are you happy just being a viewer? Cast your vote and leave me some comments and let me know what you think. Nate. Nate has not just been lying to Elena. I think Nate has been lying to himself a lot lately. A lot. I mean, okay, he did the deed with Victoria. And then he immediately started to back out again. He was in bed, like, kind of looking nude with a pillow over everything. And he was telling Victoria that he didn't plan any of this, that he didn't want to be a cheater, that the only reason he didn't tell Elena that Victoria was going on this trip with him was because he wanted to avoid an argument. And I agree with Victoria that Nate knew what he wanted. I think he knew deep down what he wanted, but he was lying to himself, which caused him to lie to her. It helped him lie to her real good. He got real good at lying to himself and to Elena. And then after he got what he wanted, he went right back to pretending that it wasn't happening. One of the things that struck me this week was just how easily and convincingly Nate was lying. They were sitting there at the cafe before they had sex, just pretending to be dutiful CEO and COOs, saying, yeah, this is all very interesting business talk. I'd love to read a book about business. Let's just go up to your room and get that business book. And then boom, no build up whatsoever. Just sex. Just naughty, cheating affair sex. How dare he light up my screen with that naughty, cheating affair sex. I'm so mad at you, Nate, for picking Victoria up and twirling her around and plopping her down on that bed. Did you see the twirl? There was a moment where he picked her up and twirled her around before tossing her on the bed. I'm sorry, forgive me. The cheating aside, what a dream come true. In all my life, I have never had anyone pick me up, twirl me down, and plonk me down on a bed until now. That was the best sex I never had. And that moment afterwards when he glanced over in the mirror. Ugh. That moment was so dramatic. That felt like old school Y&R. Moments like that are what hooked me on this show. Him having the affair, knowing it, having done it, having gone through with it, and then taking that moment to look over at the mirror and absorb what it all really looked like. To just take it all in. The good and the bad. Ugh, that moment. What had he done? That had to have been what he was thinking. What have I done? I wanted this so bad. I'm here. I'm seeing it in living color in the mirror. What have I done? The other thing that felt so retro about that series of scenes was Elena's voiceover. So while Nate was taking Victoria on the tilt-a-whirl ride of her life, ride of my life, Elena was talking to Audra. And she was describing how Nate went from being an ER doctor that everyone respected, a god, she called him. And then when he stopped being a doctor, he became just a man, a mere mortal. And little by little, he became consumed with regaining that power that he once had. He betrayed his own family for it. I should have known that eventually he would betray me too. Damn! So good. It was so good, I'm not even mad about it. I'm sorry, forgive me. My opinion of Nate as a dramatic character has just gone up, up, up. His God complex has been so entertaining to watch. And I hope it doesn't stop here. Audra is just a straight up troublemaker. And she's the one who told Elena, of course, that Nate wasn't going alone on his trip like she thought. And it's such an insult to injury for Elena because on top of having a lying, cheating boyfriend, Audra is not a real friend. Audra is just trying to stir the pot because she's hoping to take Nate's job when it all boils up. I mean, I'm glad she told Elena. I just felt bad that Elena was getting the news from someone who didn't have her best interest at heart and who seemed to be trying to stoke the fire. It seemed like Audra was trying to get Elena riled up. At first, Elena was not biting, though. She said, yeah, I could go to LA, I could catch him in the act, or I could throw all of his clothes out the window into the street, or I could take a different approach. So Elena called up JT Hellstrom, trying to put a plan into motion to, I guess, distract Victoria with an ex who she is least likely to fall back in love with. Elena would have had an easier time resurrecting Ryan from the dead and then making Victoria fall back in love with him. I mean, maybe it's me, but after a man terrorizes and abuses me, tries to kill me, ties me up and tries to kill me, I have a hard time looking at him the same way. Never forget. I mean, JT had a brain tumor, yes, but I will still never forget because the effect was the same. And JT knows this. I mean, Victoria has to have PTSD or something from all that. Why would she fall right back in love with her abuser, brain tumor or not? And JT knows this, and JT told Elena, I am not going back to Genoa City. Sorry. You can just interview me from here. So I don't know if that's all we're going to see of JT. I guess that's it. So bummer. But not, because that just meant that Elena had to go to LA then to confront her lying, cheating boyfriend for my entertainment. This was as good as a sweeps week for me, because Elena walked right in on Nate and Victoria, again, going right back to pretending that it was business as usual, but holding hands this time. Victoria's oh so concerned about Nate. I mean, pause. Victoria is a cheater too. Nate shouldn't be the only one taking all of the heat here. Victoria knew that she was seducing somebody else's man, and she didn't care. Not one little bit. And it's not going to matter what she says in the following week. She did not give one little iota of thought to feeling bad for Elena or what she was doing to Elena. And so I loved it when Elena walked right up to the table and said, "Shut up, Victoria." Ooh, I mean, Victoria is like this crazy, powerful business mogul. She has all of the power in the world. She could have anything that she wants. She's just larger than life. And Elena just diffused it instantly, brought it right down to street level, and said, "Shut up, Victoria." That was so good. So Victoria just got out of there and let Nate and Elena talk. And, I mean, at least Nate didn't deny it. Elena asked what was going on here, and Nate just confessed immediately. We slept together. We just slept together. And he tried explaining himself. I shouldn't dismiss everything that he said. I'm trying to be well-rounded here, because I think that Nate is a conflicted person. I don't think that Nate ever wanted to hurt Elena. I just think that he wanted himself more. He wanted what he wanted more. And so, of course, it didn't really matter what he said. It's over. It's been over. Elena stood up and threw a drink in his face. That was great. He had to sit there for the rest of the scene like a wet dog with his hands folded in his lap, just taking it, because he knew that he deserved it. Oh. Thank goodness that Elena didn't throw the whole glass at Nate. She just splashed the water. She didn't throw the whole glass, because I would hate to have had her accidentally injure Nate's other hand. Oh, my hand! My other hand! Now I can't perform surgery with this hand, and I can't perform business deals with this hand. Cruel, cruel world. I have developed an excellent radar for the art of lying. I can tell you who didn't say it. Elena did not say it. Because Nate's art of lying definitely went unnoticed by her, or undetected by her. No, it was Michael Baldwin who said, "I have developed an excellent radar for the art of lying." That was such a Michael Baldwin line. And basically everybody got it right. He was talking to Lauren, defending his defense of Diane, saying he knows she wasn't lying. So, wow, congrats. Lots of winners. Ron, Henry, Tina Cole, Victoria, Tina B, Debbie, Kayla Rose, TB84, Tony, good old Marky, Daisy, Jamie, Kamna, and Michael's biggest fan, Gary. Congratulations, you guys got it. Here's a good one. I like this quote a lot. Flowers will bloom where they choose. Isn't that great for spring? Flowers will bloom where they choose. Who said it? If you think that you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And before I get started with comments, I have 2 birthday shout outs this week. I want to say a big, big, big happy birthday to Liz, birthday on May 10th, and Sherry, birthday on May 12th. You guys are awesome. Liz, I missed your comments. I haven't heard from you in a little while. And Sherry, you're like pretty good at these quotes. So thank you guys for stopping by, and come let us tell you happy birthday in the comments. Say hi and then get some attention for your birthday. Let us know if you want to be a writer on Y&R. I hear they're looking for them. All right, let's do some comments, starting with Come Now, who says, finally, a scene for Elena to steal the show. And that's what she did. I loved how she wasn't screaming or crying. She was seething with anger, but remained calm and classy as ever. And every sentence was cutting deeper and deeper, giving Nate exactly what he deserved. She can walk away now and leave it to Audra to raise hell on Victoria. Yeah, what's next for Elena? I think I can guess what's next for Audra. Astra says it's a shame that Audra is only using Elena for her own self-interest, because I'd like to see them be real friends. They're completely opposites. So Audra could help loosen Elena up, and Elena could check Audra for her ambiguous nature. Audra's a fun mess starter, but she needs something or someone to humanize her, and a friendship with Elena might do the trick. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah, the friendship needs to turn real, because it's not real right now. Sherrod says, Elena told Victoria to shut up. I want her to destroy Nate. They made Devon, who I was not liking at all, be absolutely right about Nate. It breaks my heart. I had thought better of him. His character has become unredeemable for me. Unredeemable. And Henry says, well, it happens. That kind of thing has brought many a man and woman down since the beginning of time. Yeah, I mean, that's true. I think that is part of the strength of the story, is that, yeah, I mean, affairs happen. They straight up happen. And so that just, and they happen in a similar way to the way it unfolded on screen, I'm sure. I mean, it was slow. It was at work, right? So you're spending all this time at work with somebody, and it's there, and there's things going on, and it gets a little sexy with the adrenaline going, especially in a high power position. And then it just happens. It doesn't make Nate unredeemable for me. But Gary asks, will the audience be up for another Nate seeking redemption storyline? Yeah, I guess that's the question, Gary, is does the audience want to now see a Nate redemption storyline? I'm not looking for a Nate redemption. And only because I think nice, well-mannered, do-gooder people are no good for drama. The characters, if they were all nice and well-mannered and do-gooders, they wouldn't be interesting. And I'm here for the drama. I'm watching for the drama. I want to see people do bad things. I'm okay with seeing people do bad things. And I don't need a redemption story right away. I kind of want Nate and Victoria to give it a go as a Genoa City power couple. And, I don't know, take no prisoners. Diana says, does anyone think that this romantic relationship that Nate's got going on with Victoria will last? I feel like now that Elena's not with Nate anymore, he'll not find his fling with Victoria as appealing anymore. I believe part of the attraction Nate had for Victoria was that it was forbidden and naughty. And now that that's out of the equation, it just isn't going to be that exciting anymore for Nate. Yeah, that's a good point. They popped the bubble. I mean, they popped it good. And once you pop that bubble, I mean, where else is there to go other than romance? But I want the romance, so I'm okay with that. But I think you do make a good point, because it's never going to be what it was again, because it won't be forbidden and naughty anymore. Well, Sue W. says, will there be much reason now for Elena to bring JT to Genoa City? She won't want Nate, even if JT pries Victoria away from him. And Diana says, I was thinking the same thing. Maybe Elena is thinking if she can't fully have Nate, then she doesn't want Victoria to either. JT is a distraction to make a wedge between Nate and Victoria. That's a good point. I don't know. There's part of me that thinks that's all we're going to see of JT. Maybe that was just him doing a quick cameo for 50th anniversary. Just get that in there. I'm not sure that we're actually ever going to see him materialize in person. I mean, he said no, so I don't know. But Diana also says JT looks hot. I really like the goatee he has. It suits his face. I would also love to see JT and Ashley get together for a little while. Not right away, of course, as I love Tucker and Ashley, but they're definitely my favorite couple on the show. I'd like to see maybe JT work for Tucker again, as it was mentioned that JT had worked for Tucker before. This could put JT in Ashley and Tucker's orbit, and JT could cause some drama between Ashley and Tucker when Ashley and JT find themselves attracted to one another. Woohoo! Yeah, I like that, and I thought JT looked really good too. He was giving me Matthew McConaughey, kind of a Matthew McConaughey laid back, curly, sort of greasy curly look with the goatee. Yeah, he looked good. Oh, well, let's talk about Ashley, because Naomi says, watching Jack deal with Ashley is sad for me. Why can't Ashley put her opinions aside for Jack's sake? Even if he's making the biggest mistake of his life, she's not helping him at all with her spiteful behavior. She's looking at him with no compassion and certainly no love. They've always had issues, and they may not ever build back to a sibling relationship if she doesn't stop being such an unlikable person. I wouldn't have thought that they ever would have been able to have a sibling relationship again after Jack basically tried to disinherit her. He's tried to, keep her from having the patents to the stuff that she created. Yeah, but they worked their way back from that. But, I mean, here's the thing. Ashley expected unconditional support this week for her relationship with Tucker from her daughter, Abby. But she doesn't give the same unconditional support to her brother when he needs it. So she expects it from others, but will not give it to others. Yeah, Ashley's got some growing to do. But again, I like it. I'm enjoying the drama. Other characters who are under heavy fire this week. Summer! Gary says, Summer frets over a lifetime in jail for her mother, but when Daniel asks, what about Diane? Summer blasts, are you freaking kidding me? She abandoned Kyle when he was a kid. That is her non sequitur response? A lifetime in prison for the innocent Diane? Summer is just like her mother, a young ninny. As Naomi had commented, how does Summer not see and is not angry at what her mother's doing to her? Where is Daniel coming from? With being burdened with Phyllis and Summer's secret? He asks, well, would you believe me in coming forward? Absolutely everyone would believe you, you dolt. The DA would be at the top of the list. Oh, these characters. But Diana's safe in Jack's arms. Yeah, I really like that thought that, if anyone's going to believe this story, it would be the DA, Christine. She would absolutely believe that Phyllis could pull a stunt like this. Yeah, maybe that will happen. Maybe that'll make for some interesting scenes next week and everybody just figures it out. And it's just, well, who's going to be the first one to blow it up? Oh, hey, Victoria. I think Victoria has got the best comment this week about Summer because it's very well-rounded. Victoria says, Allison Lanier is doing an amazing job of embodying the role of Summer. She is so convincing as a frustrated and scared adult child who is in denial about her parents' behavior. Summer is asking for a lifeline from Daniel, but struggles to accept Phyllis's criminal actions. She wants Daniel's support, but in truth, it's collusion. Daniel is clear-headed and sifting through the information Summer's giving him. So far, he's not buying her arguments. Will Daniel help Summer see reason and end Diane's nightmare? Yeah, I mean, and Summer's only known this information for a couple of days. So maybe after, as you put it, this, the scared frustration and all that settles a little bit, maybe Daniel will be able to help her come around to a clearer-headed view of it all. Jamie says, please let Daniel actually bust the whole Phyllis secret wide open. Get my girl and all of the delicious drama her presence brings back on my screen. The potential fallout of her returning from the dead has all the ingredients to be epic. Yes, I'm looking forward to those ingredients too. Daisy has a really interesting theory here, saying, did Phyllis really return? Or was Summer hallucinating? Daniel did not see Phyllis, so you never know. Someone else could have killed Stark. Phyllis found Stark dead and was planning to dispose of the body, but the real killer, maybe the EMT, found Phyllis, who thought he was dead. And he not only took care of the body, but is keeping Phyllis locked up for leverage, nervous and panicked. He's weighing the options, so Summer would not have seen her mother and is having a breakdown. And based on the preview, Daniel screaming at Summer might just throw her over the edge, especially when he's destroying her fantasy with reality. That's good. If that whole thing was part of Summer's fantasy, that would be a way out for sure. That's clever. I like it. Naomi says, I love Diane's homecoming. I was really taken in with Jack and Diane, so full of joy, and couldn't take their eyes off of each other. Jack said it all without really saying anything by the way he tenderly held her and looked at her. If this were real life, I would be full of envy because a real-life love story like this is something to behold. And if Diane turns out to have a hidden secret or two, I hope they work through it. Yeah. Oh, well, let's switch topics a little bit because last week I asked you guys to vote in a poll that gave me Sally Spectra's approval rating. I'm honestly a little bit surprised. 61% of you approve of Sally's Spectra. I was kind of expecting there to be a little bit more dissent there. Well, Henry says, Courtney came over from The Bold and the Beautiful, and I liked her there, and my approval of her role as Sally Spectra has simply not changed. I think she's great. Oh yeah, I like Courtney Hope a lot, but I asked about Sally's approval, not Courtney's approval. I voted disapprove. I think a lot, it seemed like most people like Courtney Hope, but all of the comments were about disapproval for the Sally's character. Victoria says, I disapprove of the way Sally's being written. It's as if all the wind has gone out of her sails. Her world has become very small and only concerned for her pregnancy. Her fire, her drive, her determination have all been extinguished. Sally does enjoy being adored, and maybe this is blinding her to the dilemma her choices are creating. Y&R, let's get Sally back in the game. She can handle pregnancy and a career at the same time. However, please don't have Adam hire her to work as a subordinate. If he's going to bring her on, make it as a full partner. Yeah, I mean, this sums up kind of how I'm feeling too. It's like Sally as a character has become one note. I mean, you're right. Her world has just gotten very small. There's nothing more to her that is making me want to root for her. She was a fiery, passionate character, and now all of that has just been gobbled up with this stupid love triangle. And you make another good point that Sally just going back to working as a subordinate for Adam, I mean, well, but we've already kind of been there and it didn't work out, and then, okay, well, whatever. I guess that just means that over time they realize they love each other and get back together. Okay, fine. There's just, it's too one note. You hit it perfectly. It's too much of the same. There's no other nuance to any of it. Well, Sue W., who makes some pretty good points here, says, Sally continues to encourage and embrace her relationship with Nick. She told Victor that she and Adam are ancient history and that she and Nick are very happy and that she, quote, does not see that changing for any reason whatsoever. Is this Nick's fault, or does Sally actually, gasp, have free choice in the relationship or even control of it? Further gasp. Yes, that's my point too. That's how I feel too. Sally's the one in control here. Yeah, everybody else is just the boys are just the puppets on the strings. And again, yes, she's choosing Nick. She's choosing Nick. She is choosing Nick. Tina B says, yeah, I'm done. Sally's making the decision to hang on to Nick, knowing full well that Nick doesn't love her. This will be bad juju on Sally. I see her and Adam getting back together for a short while or for whatever drama's in store for her pregnancy, but I don't see them being together for much longer after that. I don't think Adam will be able to reconcile with the fact that she chose Nick over him when he was begging her to get back together. I see Nick leaving her soon. I kind of see Nick leaving her soon, too. Ellen says, yeah, I don't get why the writers did this. Adam and Sally could have been a long-term, fun pairing with real legacy potential. But Sally's inability to forgive Adam after his repeated, very sincere apologies is such a turnoff. It's clear that Nick and Sally are not a love match, and now there's Adam in the middle of their relationship. It's so unappealing. Yeah, perfect. That was perfect. And also the part about Adam and Sally were fun. I mean, this is not fun anymore. They're two fun characters who were having fun, and you're right, it could have been long-term fun and awesome and power couple. And it's just not fun anymore. Just not fun. Naomi says, I like the scene with Adam and Nick, though. They're so interesting when they talk to each other as brothers instead of as enemies. Adam mentioned to Sally that he grew up without the advantage of the Newman name, as known around Genoa City. The two men were raised very differently and yet had things in common. They also have their disdain for their father's tactics in common. T. Nicole says, Victor, if you can handle Sharon, Phyllis, and Chelsea as mothers to your grandchildren, then I think you could be okay with Sally being around. Victor even has Billy Boy Abbott as the father to his grandchildren, and J.T. Hellstrom, who pushed him down the stairs and left him for dead, even though that was all because of a brain tumor. The old brain tumor, yes, it washes away everything. But again, great. Why is Sally so much worse than Sharon, Phyllis, Chelsea, Billy, and JT? Gary says, the only way you're going to get me to turn against Sally is if she sells her baby to Victor for her own good. Yeah. This is a very smart, good, great comment, Gary. There was a time when Catherine Chancellor offered Jill Foster $1 million for her unborn baby. Oh, that's great. Nick made a comment this week about the payoff thing being vintage Victor, but little did I know that it's actually vintage Catherine, too. She originated the deal. That's great. Now, again, another twist from Daisy, who says, I'm not so sure that Victor really wants to take Sally's child away from her and give her the money. He might, but it's also possible that Victor offered Sally the money to test her, to see if she's really willing to do right by her daughter. Victor told Sally that he'd give her daughter things. He never mentioned love, although he does love his family. So I think what he said to Sally may have been a test to see if her love for her daughter is more than her love of having money and power. And then when she tells him no, he'll see that. Oh, that'd be a really good twist. Or at least it will be a way for Victor to save face if she does turn him down. He'll be like, oh, yeah, that was a test. Either way, that's great. Hey, Gary also noticed, did the last-minute impromptu invitations for Neil's Jazz Club ball signify no sequins? This is the most understated Genoa City event in the history of the show. It's refreshing. It's a come-as-you-are rag bag. Yes. Rags! They were all just in rags. Not a single sequin. Tina B says, I loved Lily's understated power blue mock turtle dress with pearl embellishments. So classy, and she looked amazing in it. Yes, Devon just said, wear a nice dress. That was the only thing he said about the attire, and she picked the beautiful pearl dress. I also today wore my pearl button sweater in honor of Lily's dress. That was definitely the outfit of the week. It was stunning in its simplicity. I love pearl buttons, pearl embellishment. I love the little pearls. She looked gorgeous. Great, great, great. Hey, good old Marky, who gave us that great writing scenario last week, says, hey, Allie, I took your advice and I got in touch with the Y&R casting director. They hired me as the background piano player at the jazz club. It was a great gig. Good old Marky, was that you? Was that you back there? I kept thinking it was Billy. The guy looked so much like Billy. But let me tell you, I was so happy. Round of applause to actually see somebody playing that piano. That was what I wished for a couple weeks back, that someone would actually play the piano back there, and we got it. Astra says, so the role of the pianist for the Jazz Lounge goes to Lester Thomas. Congratulations, Lester. Is Lester a real jazz pianist? I don't know. I looked up Lester Thomas, pianist, and I didn't see any results that were really obvious to me that that's his name, and or did Y&R just cast somebody to pretend to be back there? Either way, it was noticed and appreciated. Another thing that was appreciated, Jamie says, oh, thank you for the brief but wonderful Malcolm cameo. He is still as sexy and smooth as ever. Yes! Malcolm is smooth, and he's as smooth and full-flavored as ever. Ellen says, Shamar Moore, like fine wine. Yes. He's going to be very good. It's eye candy next week for sure, but he's just his way. It's just his way. He is a sexy, sexy man. And the other thing, though, is Shamar Moore is also a ham. So you can pretty much bet that he is going to ham up those scenes. It's going to be all about him, and he knows it, and he is going to deliver. Like that guy, he just commands. He's going to get in there, and he is going to be hamming it up. Speaking of ham, Gary says, Allie, you said Tracy had moved back to New York when she's clearly in the other room ready to make a ham sandwich for summer, according to Kyle. Who can clarify? And Diana says, I was wondering how the heck Tracy was going to hear Kyle calling to her to make a sandwich when she's all the way in New York. I noticed that too. It was totally inconsistent because last week Jack said Tracy went back to New York, and then this week she's in the kitchen available for ham sandwich making. I'm sure Tracy's a jet setter. She just goes back and forth. Things got a little icky, so she went to New York for a while, but then she came back. That's just how it goes. You can't keep a good habit down. And Naomi says, fun thing, even though it was a serious scene. One family member hollering out to another family member to make them a ham sandwich. Most families have a, hey, while you're up, routine for getting snacks and beverages brought from the kitchen. But it's nice to know that the Abbotts are just folks eating ham sandwiches instead of some special gourmet wrap. Yes, I totally agree. I loved that scene. I loved that moment. I loved how Kyle just skipped right over Mrs. Martinez and asked his Aunt Tracy to bring him his hammy Sammy. And that's a wrap. A ham sandwich wrap. Oh, boy. Oh, well, I think it's your turn to go to yrchat.com. Leave some hammy comments of your own. Put a little mayo on it if you want to. Maybe a little lettuce, something. Leave your hammy sammies at yrchat.com. Let me know what you're thinking about the show. And come back next Sunday and I'll talk to you some more about it then. Okay, everybody. I love you. I hope you all have a really good springy week, and I'll see you next time.